PSG, a team that is dominant in French football. Obviously, majority of that dominance comes from the players they bring in. They have got a lot of money every single season, and they attract some of the biggest stars around the world. Today, we're going to give them a bit of a challenge. We're going to be putting them in the Premier League for 5 seasons and seeing how they compete. We're going to be going over the transfers they make, the schedule, how they play, who they lose to, and we're going to see what they win in 5 years and see if they can take that French success and adapt it and come into the English League and replicate it. So I think it's important we start with the biggest part of PSG, which will be the transfers, of course. Obviously, a lot of these have come in before, obviously, like Wijnaldum. A lot of these, actually, they did some fantastic business here. Obviously, we've seen this in real life, but some of the players, they actually managed to get on the free. Obviously, Donnarumma, Messi, Wijnaldum, Lavalier there. They done fantastic business, to be fair to them. But they've actually, on this career mode, obviously, it's this onwards for this season, they've actually signed Zlatan Ibrahimovic, which is a very interesting signing. Obviously getting him back to his former club for 4.9 million, who must be about... He's 40 years old, so it's quite a late signing in his career. Caligari from Fluminense and Deret Dimistiti from Atalanta for 26 million. I'm pretty sure a lot of these were already agreed. Obviously, you see Areola there for West Ham, which obviously did happen in real life. So overall, they've brought in 3 new players, and I'm quite interested to see how Zlatan performed, to be honest. So let's go and have a little look and see how they've done in the actual sort of... Well, everything. We'll just go on the overview, go on competitions and see what they won and see where they finished. So, the first season, they actually come in at 5th, which is very interesting because I thought they would at least get into the Champions League spots. I'm not sure why they're not going into the Europa. If anyone knows how I can fix that, please let me know for the next video. I do know that we did play Champions League this season, though, if I go into the schedule, because I did have a quick look before. But, so overall, the top goal scorer is actually Kylian Mbappe. To be expected, right? I'm surprised they actually managed to keep hold of him. But managed to keep hold of him. The highest match rating on average is Lionel Messi. Again, I'm pretty sure that's quite common. Mbappe actually getting the top goal scorer in the FA Cup as well, which they were the runner-up in. And also, we won the Carabao Cup. So the first season, finished 5th in the Premier League and won the Carabao Cup. It's not awful, but I think their team is more than capable of getting in the top 4. I mean, we're going to have a little look at how they lined up as well. But to me, a team like this should be easily getting Champions League, if not challenging for the title. But it is PSG. They are going to invest every single season. And obviously, I suppose this is the first season they are actually in the Premier League. But overall, I thought they would have done a little bit better. But let's go in and have a little look at the players for the senior squad. So if we do the average match rate, we can have a little look and break this down. So it's actually Lionel Messi there contributing with 19 goals, 12 assists, and Mbappe with 20 goals. Quite an impressive season for him. Zlatan Ibrahimovic, I wanted to see him. Can we filter that? We can. I wanted to look at that. 12 goals from Zlatan at 40 years of age. Very impressive for him. Icardi coming up. We've got a few loanees we won't include. Neymar with 9. Not exactly a fantastic season. But again, this really does sort of expose, can they do it in the higher, in actual tough league? Because PSG are a great team, but whenever you see them in the Champions League, they always collapse when they come against a good opponent. And it's sort of are they just a team that can do it against these smaller teams? They even sometimes slip up to the semi-strong teams in the French league. So it's something which is definitely interesting and needs talking about. But overall, I mean, I'd say it's a reasonable first season. Like I said, I personally think they could do better, but it is their first season. They've been going from playing French teams that sometimes, one of PSG's players worth more than the entire club to playing a lot of talent in the Premier League. Who got the worst performance? So we're talking, he's actually on loan. So Daniel, he only played 2 appearances there. Zlatan didn't even get that good of a match rating overall, but he did contribute with 12 goals. And you can't really expect too much of a 40-year-old striker, can you? Being honest. So what we're going to do now, let's have a look. Let's have a quick look how they lined up. Here we go. Look at the tactics. So they're playing the 4-3-3 DM wide. So you've got Donnarumma, Caligari, Demisti, Kabembe, Mendes, Wijnaldum, Guy, Herrera, Messi, Neymar, and Mbappe. I don't know if that's just commonly how they line up or whether that is the last game. I'm not entirely sure, but I've got an injury here for Hakimi, Verratti, and Ramos, obviously, and some big ones here actually. So they did suffer quite a lot of injuries, but overall, this team is more than capable of. I would say in 5 years they should win the title. Let's have a little look at the schedule and see exactly did they slip up anywhere or So the friendlies are not really going to worry about too much. You've got a 2-1 against Leeds, 2-0 against Brentford. These are pretty normal results. We did play the Champions League. I don't know why it didn't show up in there, so we'll just have to see where we got through the schedule. Fine there. Managed to beat Man City, an Ibrahimovic goal, of course. Watford, we actually ended up going to penalties against. Drew to Wolves, lost to Atletico Madrid in the Champions League. Then a loss to Newcastle as well. There's definitely a few shock results in here as we go down. Beat Palace, beat Wolfsburg, drew to Burnley. It's just funny that PSG versus Burnley can't even get 3 points. Chelsea with a 2-0, a 1-1 against United, not too bad. Drew against Wolfsburg, beat Chelsea in the cup there. Finally managed to beat Atletico in the Champions League, which is something. We've gone on a horrible run here, not horrible, but lose to Liverpool, lose to Arsenal, lose to Brighton, which is not great. Progress in the cup there. I just want to see where we must have got. Oh no, we did make it to the knockouts. We did make it to the knockouts. We lost in the first round of the knockouts against Sporting, which is absolutely shocking. It's something I say all the time though. PSG just don't seem to be able to do it in the Champions League. They do progress to a reasonable stage, but when it gets to crunch time, they just completely flop. But we did obviously, as you can see here, we won the FA Cup quarter-final here against Manchester City. We won the semi-final, and then we got to the final, and we lose it to Newcastle, who we've lost to twice, I believe, this season. This is the final. We obviously won against Man United. Messi with a first-minute goal, and Draxler got the winner. So overall, we did bring silverware back, or Pochettino did bring silverware back in the first season, but I would say it's quite a disappointing season in terms of the league finish. But let's get into the next season and see how they do. So, Season 2 didn't actually improve much either. I mean, we actually finished 7th. So, we did qualify for the Champions League purely because we did win the Europa League against Feyenoord in the final 3-2. So, luckily we got Champions League, but that's not to do with the Premier League because, I mean, again, it's a poor finish. We have also, there is a new manager who I will show you. I think Pochettino got sacked around about the 10th game, the 15th game of the season. I did see that. We won the Friendly Cup there. We knocked out in the final by Liverpool in the FA Cup. And the Carabao Cup, we got knocked out in the third round by Chelsea. So, not a great display in English Cups. Obviously, we did win some silverware in the Europa League. But to be honest, that should be a given. I mean, PSG, if they drop down to Europa League in real life, they should be winning it 9 times out of 10. Their team is fantastic. Obviously, the Friendly Cup doesn't really matter too much. We're looking at the top goal scorers, and it's telling me that Mbappe could have gone elsewhere because we've got Wijnaldum and Lionel Messi as our top goal scorers. Which Messi, I understand, but Wijnaldum's quite you don't expect him to be at the top necessarily. But we finished 7th with 65 points. Man City winning the league just above Liverpool by 2 points. Wolves, Bournemouth and West Brom find themselves going down to the Championship, which is unfortunate for them. But no, I thought this season we would have improved, but let's go and have a little look at, first off, so we've now got Roberto Mancini. So I mean, to be fair, I'd say it's a bit of an upgrade. Obviously, he's come in, he's won a bigger trophy in his first season. He's a great manager to have, that is for sure. Obviously, he's got the finances to play with now. Prefers that 4-3-3 wide formation as well, which is interesting because if we look at it now in the senior squad, yeah, there's no Mbappe in here, is there? Mbappe's a goner, so it'll be very interesting to see where he's gone. We can see some people we brought in actually. We didn't have Alvarez, I believe. Where did he come from originally? I forgot where he come from originally. We've actually been playing Rafinha up top, which is quite worrying. But let's go and have a look at the schedule. We'll do the transfers first. See what happened. So these people we brought in, we discussed that. We then actually ended up selling Icardi to Arsenal for 27 million. That's not too bad at all. And then we're going to look at the outs first. We're going to see where Mbappe, Areola actually went to West Ham permanently. Sergio Rico to Tottenham for 10 million. Calamandano, from Rennes, or to Rennes for 15.7. Dano Pereira, a player I wouldn't have got rid of, is good to have in that midfield for 26 million. And Mbappe to Liverpool to 3 million. Now, I assume that could be because of a contract, because I don't think on this database it's saved the contract did get it's not gone through. So I imagine we just took what we could on him. But that looks really weird. Kylian Mbappe to Liverpool for 3 million. If we look at this, I don't know if we can hang on, not that. I want to see, where is it on here? The finance side of things. No. No. Okay. Well, I know he's worth what? Getting on for like 200 million. So I mean, for them to pick him up for 3 million is an absolute steal. It's practically getting him on the free. Any more big boys out? The rest of them aren't too serious. This is there. Pablo Sarabia actually went to Atletico Madrid. But we did bring in some signings of our own. We brought in Andre Frank Zambo Agucia from Fulham for 39 million. Pretty much like a very good midfield player, actually, to be fair to him. I guess that's the replacement for Danilo. So overall, 27 again, not the youngest player to bring in, but very well balanced there, that is for sure. If we then have a look at Kingsley Coman, not a bad attacking player to have on the wing, 26. I imagine he'll tear up this league quite easily. Very good player to have indeed for the club. Very good stats there. We then brought in Nuno Mendes, which I believe will be on the permanent. So we actually, either discussed with the club or we just outright brought him out for, what was that? He's 20 years old, 41 million. So quite a lot spent. But again, you've got a left back there for at least 10 seasons if he performs well. So I mean, a very good player to bring in there. So good shout out to them for that. Then brought in Anel Hamadvovic. I really butchered that, from Malmo for 2 million, which is more of a centre-half, but again looks very good. 24, young centre-back. Obviously, I can't see all of the stats here because I'm not actually at the club, so we're just going to see what we can see, basically. Edson Alvarez from Bayern, that's the player that I noticed, for 38 million. I know he didn't come from Bayern originally, I'm pretty sure. Again, a perfect player because he can fill in, when we lost Danilo, he can fill in if needed there, and at centre-half. 25, so reasonably young. All round, his attributes are very well balanced there. And I think overall, I mean, we have not really emplaced Mbappe, that goal scoring presence, or Icardi, really, because we brought in wingers, and that's pretty much it. But hopefully, we can do better next season and sort of see us at least qualify for Champions League by getting top 4. But overall, I'd say this window, the players were brought in are very good, but this bit here, where is it? Kylian Mbappe is awful. But I mean, obviously, if you can't get him to agree a new contract like they did in real life, that would have happened in real life. Possibly not to Liverpool. But so look at the schedule. So the friendly's not going to worry about. Some reasonable wins here. Lost to Man City, drew to Villa, not great. Yeah, I mean, it's penalties against Chelsea. It's not the worst result. Drew to Watford. Quite dominant in this sort of month here, actually, in the Europa League. Quite easy games, though. A 2-0 loss to Sheffield, which isn't great at all. Neil Maupay there getting both goals. Drew to Everton. Lost to Man United 3-0. Beat Wolves, beat Galatasaray. Drew to Chelsea. Chelsea seem to be a team that have our number, by the seams of it. We definitely just blitzed the Europa League groups. A loss there to Liverpool. The Friendly Cup final, I mean, we were playing. I mean, that was actually a close final there. Well, it was a close final. The third round of the FA Cup, we beat Brighton 3-2. Very close game there as well. And in the fourth round, we actually beat Northampton on penalties. It went all the way to pens. Then had Marseille in the second round knockout in a 2-0 win. There's the more cup in the quarterfinals. So reasonable. I'd say that's pretty reasonable there. We sort of got through the fifth round of the quarterfinal with it's quite easy. 3-0, 3-1 wins. You can't really go wrong there. We actually lost in the first round of the quarterfinals of the Europa, but we brought it back to 3-1 and 1 there. We won 1-0 against Blackburn in the semi-final of the FA Cup. We then ended up actually doing the same thing. Well, not the same, we didn't lose, but we drew to Wolfsburg in the semi-final, but won 3-0 in the second leg of the semi-final. We then decided that we didn't want to win a game, and we went on a 4-draw spree there against some decent teams. Probably should have beat Villa, though. We then got blitzed by Liverpool, obviously, in the FA Cup final, which is not great at all. I mean, that's just not even a close game. Jota with a hat-trick. And then we beat Feyenoord, extra time, 3-2, Angel Di Maria actually being the hero there. And we finish off the season with a 1-0 win against Watford. So overall, not the perfect season at all by any means, but okay in the terms that at least we've got Champions League. But next season, I want to see us at least in this 4th position. But let's get into it and see how they do. So season 3 has just been simulated, and it's not looking good. We've actually got an Inter manager now in Joan Francois Pien. He's only managed 15 games. Obviously, he only played 15, so it was obviously quite a late decision to sack Mancini, which sort of tells us we didn't have a great season. I've seen that our top goal scorer down here is Evanilson, so we are going to have a quick look at the team. But let's go into the competitions and see where we finished. So yeah, it's not great. So again, we finished 6th. We've not even managed to break into Champions League yet. We've qualified for Europa League on goal difference, we've qualified for Europa League. We got knocked out in the Champions League, first knockout round by Man City. We didn't even win the Super Cup. We were runners-up to that. We were knocked out in the 5th round by Man United in the Emirates FA Cup and the Carabao Cup. We were knocked out in the 3rd round by Watford. So overall, a very, very disappointing season. I mean, no trophies won here, and we didn't even get into Champions League, so I can see why there was a management change. Let's have a quick look at the schedule. I'm only going to sort of cover like the most important, like you know, cup games and stuff like that. So we lost on penalties in the Super Cup, not great there. We lost to, wow, that is really bad actually. We lost to Watford in the 3rd round of the Carabao Cup? The Carabao Cup there, which isn't ideal either. Again, we didn't actually have a great Champions League group either. Losing to Mainz there, drawing to Chelsea. A lot of draws for some reason. Obviously, Mancini couldn't get this team playing, I guess. We then actually beat Leeds in the FA Cup 4th round. We beat Man City in the 1st knockout. So, there we go. So then we lose to United in the 5th round of the FA Cup. And then Man City just absolutely sweep us 3-0 at their home to knock us out of the Champions League. And that is pretty much all of the cups done for that season. We didn't really survive in any of them. It was a very, very poor display when it comes to cup performances, that is for sure. But let's have a little look at the transfers and see if we've sold or brought anyone in. Wow, we definitely brought someone in. Let's have a quick look here. So Sarabia to Real Madrid, Atletico Madrid, sorry, I think I covered that before. Under Herrera to West Ham. A couple of players West Ham have got off us now. Julian Draxler to Bournemouth. Few other people here. Ramos actually to Real Sociedad for 3.4 million. He's got to be getting on now, isn't he? 38, yeah, still a very good centre half though, but towards the end of his career, probably the last move he's got. We spent 234 million this season. We brought in Atle Banadir from Fenerbahce, a goalkeeper, so that's quite good. I imagine it'll be back up for Donnarumma. Looks very good with his attributes. 26, so still quite young. Good signing there. We then bring in Evanilson from Porto for 34.5 million, who is a striker. We are still trying to sort of replace Mbappe. You can't really replace him, but he's 24. His attributes do look quite good. I imagine he's got the ability to grow as well. But replacing Mbappe is pretty much mission impossible. We then bring in big money here actually from Leeds, Rafinha for 57 million. 27 years old. Again, a very, very good player. Definitely will strengthen the attack. Hopefully we play a formation where he can fit in, because obviously I don't know what this new manager's playing, what tactics he's playing, so we will have a look at that and make sure Rafinha can actually play, otherwise that'll be a waste of a signing. We then bring in Tuan Coppeniers from Atalanta for 45 million. Another central midfielder, more on the attacking side of things, 26 as well. One thing we are doing is, what PSG are doing, they're bringing in a lot of sort of mid-20 players, which is quite good because they are sort of future-proofing themselves. Very good attributes. I mean, look at this guy. I've never actually heard of this guy before, to be honest, but everything. I mean, he's got great concentration, good decisions, good determination. Just a very, very good midfielder in terms of everything. Good player traits there as well. So a good signing from PSG there. We then spend another 31 million in Maria Demaral from Juventus, who is a centre half. Again, I think again 26 actually. I've just noticed that. I think this is more about finding possibly not to replace Ramos, but obviously I don't know what sort of players are on the market, and obviously I imagine PSG are having a reason, not a difficult time to attract top tier players, but obviously there's no Champions League, so I mean we're not going to be attracting some of the top tier players anymore, but it's decent signing from them. We then go over to Lask and sign Jan Boller, a player which I have played with before. I actually have him on a Leipzig save online. We can't see too much about him, but I know from when I've used him on Football Manager, he is a very decent centre half. We then go to Shakhtar, and they spend another 34 million on Dodo, who obviously is the right back there, 25. They're keeping it around that 25-year mark for pretty much all of the signings. Very quick for a right back, a very good backup to Hakimi, I imagine, and he can also play a little bit further forward if needed, depending on what the manager plays. The last signing of the window is Roberto Firmino, a very strange signing, I would actually say. Again, he's still got very good attributes, but he is slightly older. He's 32, and he's not really obviously known for his goal scoring. He's sort of more known for his assist and link-up play with the other three attackers. So hopefully we are sort of catering to his game style, because everything he does well, he does the best you can probably get. So, I mean, overall, a very good window. We've spent an absolute fortune, though, 234 million. If we look at the tactics, I'll have a quick here. So they are actually playing Firmino in like a sort of attack and playmaker role. Messi on the right, Neymar, Agusia, Coppermeers, Hakimi, Demario, Kimpembe, Mendes, and Donnarumma. So overall, it's still a very, very good 11 on paper. And I think even with this 11, I don't know how they're not breaking in to the Champions League. So hopefully next season, because there's going to be even more players brought in, hopefully that can be the season where they do. Let's have a little quick look at the some of the players then. So we'll do the goals first. So we're talking Everton actually comes in and gets top goal scorer, 15 goals. Neymar contributing a little bit more. Messi with only 9 goals. He is 36, so he is definitely getting older there. Kingsley Coman with 7. It's not a load of goals being scored, to be honest, just for everyone. The best match rating performer, though, was Lionel Messi. I'm pretty sure that's to be expected, right? I imagine. I mean, in real life, he's not quite hacked it, is he? I mean, you expect when he goes to the French League to him to be scoring every game, doing loads, but he's had his moments of magic, but he's not exactly kicked off as well as what probably a lot of people would have thought. Kimpembe with a good match rate in there as well. Neymar actually picking it up as well. I mean, he's 32, so he's getting quite old as well. So we've got to, at some point, replace Messi and Neymar, which I guess we've sort of done to the best we can with getting Koeman and Rafinha, but they're definitely not up to standard. And then if we look at some of the worst performers, I want to look at people that have actually played a decent amount of games. So 30 games there, Verratti not playing well at all. 33 from Ronaldo, not having a great season there either. Is that starting appearances 33, so he has been starting as well. A very, very poor season from him. And obviously Firmino not doing too much, but again, he's playing in an unfamiliar position. He's used to sort of playing like a false 9, assistant wingers that are pretty much ahead of him. But overall, a very, very poor season. If we look at this once again, obviously, 6th place, no trophies won. So hopefully we can turn this around, or PSG, sorry, can turn this around in the 4th season. Let's go and see what they can do. So a season 4 simulated, and it wouldn't be a PSG season without a new manager, would it? And that is what they brought in. They brought in Thomas Tuchel, obviously fantastic manager in real life, prefers the 5-2-2-1. We do see that played in real life as well. And this is where I expect to possibly actually get into that Champions League spot, because I don't know when he come in, but he is a great manager, and hopefully he took us to where we need to be. Again, Avallison down there with 16 goals as the top goal scorer, but let's see how we done. Obviously, we got Europa League, I believe, last season. So let's have a little look. So competition, senior squad, there we go. Okay, it's much better. So we actually finished 2nd. We lose the title by goal difference. So we qualified for Champions League, more than enough there. Very joint points with Liverpool. So it makes me wonder who we did bring in. We actually got knocked out in the Europa League group. With a group which we should easily come top in, but we didn't. We got knocked out in the 5th round by Man United in the FA Cup, the semi-finals to Arsenal, but we did go on and win the Conference League, which again isn't a massive trophy, but it is a trophy. Obviously, I imagine Tuchel will be quite happy with that. Lionel Messi gets top goal scorer in that. And to be fair, it's a big upgrade in terms of where we finished. We've been lingering around sort of like the 6th, possibly even lower marks. So I mean, to finish 2nd is definitely a lot better. And the teams that went down are Watford, Blackburn, and Stoke. I mean, teams which you probably could put your money on going down, but it's quite gutting we didn't actually win the title. We've got one more season to do that. Obviously, Liverpool, a fantastic team, and we did run them close. At the end of the day, we got the same amount of points, but just lost it on goal difference. Let's go and have a quick look then at the transfers first. So Oh, one more signing in this window here. Brahim Diaz from Real Madrid, obviously an attacker midfield player there. Fantastic attributes. 25 years old as well, so still a very young player. Anyone else going out? No, we talked about Ramos. 131 million spent. Lucas Hernandez, obviously the centre half, 62 million with the add-ons included. He can play left back and centre back. A slightly more older defender, but experienced, which I imagine a person like Tuchel wants. He wants a person that can play in several positions across the back five, because obviously he plays quite a few defenders in his formations. A very good sort of pre-built world-class centre back, that is for sure to bring in. We then go and spend 13 million on Agabo Kamara from Olympiacos, another attacker midfielder who can also play slightly deeper. Very good, well-rounded attributes there. 24 Ghanaian midfielder. Again, it's nice to see us bringing in younger players because it does future-proof the club. We then go and actually spend 5 million from Ponferrada, I believe that is, on Francisco Nicolas. A left back, again, I can't see too much about him. He looks like a youth prospect, 19 years of age. I can't see too much about him. But again, it's good to see young players coming in. A very cheap signing here for PSG standards, £825,000 on Adrien Picard. A youthful centre-back. Tuchel does like to bring in, obviously, quite a few defenders, because you've got to think he plays 3 centre-halves a game. Injuries can occur. Same with the left-back and right-back. So, very good for him there. And then the big money spender from Man City, who Rodri's got to be getting on quite a bit here. 65 million on Rodri. Again, a world-class midfielder, 28 years old, so he's still got sort of like 5 years in him before he gets too old there. And to be honest, it's not a bad signing. I mean, he's quite expensive. He's the older side, but he's a world-class midfielder, and we've had the likes of Verratti that's not been performing, so bringing in someone like Rodri is a very good option. And we also get rid... There we go, this explains it. We get rid of Idrissa Gay. We get rid of... Agusia, who actually we brought in for I think around 30-something, so we've turned a very tidy profit on him. 62 million after the fees as well, or after the add-on, shall I say. And Rafinha, not a great bit of business there. Yeah, it is the right Rafinha. We actually let him go to Arsenal after possibly 1 or 2 seasons for 40 million when we did pay 57, so awful business there, that is for sure. Let's have a little quick look at the we'll prioritise the players this time, see who got the goals this season. So with Arnoldson with 16, Messi having himself a great season, 16 assists, 14 goals, Neymar having a decent season for goals, Kamara popping up with some goals, midfielders actually as well, Firmino contributing as well as Diaz. We've not had, in this entire save, we've not had a goal scorer who goes out and gets sort of like 30 goals, 20, even 20. They're sort of like more well-rounded, and the whole team sort of chips in. We look at the match ratings, I'm sure we can see here as well. So we'll go by appearances, 50 appearances here from Kimpembe, who aces it. Obviously, I'm not going to give this guy the reward because he's played one appearance as a substitute. So, I mean, Kimpembe got the best overall sort of performer, and then it was Bernat who actually played quite well. Lionel Messi obviously up there as always. Rodri, I mean, that's not a bad first season, is it? Coming in, averaging a 7.29. Very, very good season from him. That is for sure. Donnarumma as well with a decent match rating. If we look down here at some of the worst performers, it's actually Hakimi, who did play 44 games starting as well with a 6.99. Wijnaldum again not playing as many, but he's not really cracking it. I'd not be surprised if they don't decide to get rid of him at some point. Obviously, we've got one more season to look at. But overall, I'd say it's a very, very decent season. So have a quick look at the tactics and see... It's a very interesting layout. I mean, they've got Lionel Messi playing in the more defensive midfield role. The back line's really good. Rodri, Diaz, Kamara and Avalason up top. Obviously, Donnarumma in goal. I hope they don't play Lionel Messi there, actually, in the games, because it's a bit of a violation to the standard of player that he actually is, to be honest. We'll have a quick look at the schedule. Just quick brief look at the cup games. So the third round would be Watford there. We won't focus on the groups too much. We'll go down to the actual result business. So we lost in the semi-final first leg to Arsenal, which is a big gut, and then we drew. So obviously we got knocked out there. We'll go down to the more results end of the season. So here we are. So go down a little bit more. So the semi-finals played. the Conference League is a reasonably easy trophy to win with a team like PSG. If you're like a mid-table team or like a team that hasn't got the amount of talent PSG has, you can easily find yourself finding that quite tough. But, you know, at the end of the day, we actually won it on penalties, the semi-final against Strasbourg there, I believe. So, I mean, we could have gone out and actually lost that. So, overall, it was actually quite close. But we beat Sassuolo 3-0 in the final. And that leaves us in quite a good spot to go into the last season. We've got Tuchel as manager. I still can't believe this group. That's quite embarrassing. But we've still got Tuchel as manager. And hopefully we can go and try and win the league in our last season. So it's the last season simulated. And it's not a good one. We finished 4th place. So it's a bit of a drop off to the 2nd place. Tuchel didn't get sacked. I just took over the job just so we could have a little look at more in-depth stuff. He did stay there the whole season, but 4th place finish. We did win the Europa League against Shakhtar. Obviously finished 4th in the Prem, lost in the 5th round of the FA Cup versus Everton, and we lost in the quarterfinals of the Carabao Cup versus Man City. So quite a disappointing season, because I did think after last season finishing 2nd that Tuchel could have, you know, carried on and probably progressed, especially in the cups. But we actually were the 7th best at scoring, the best at conceding goals, so we didn't concede hardly any. Avalison there actually with the best goals, Rodri with the highest match rating, which was to be expected. I did say it was, despite his age, a good signing, because he has got tons of potential. We would have had a £152 million transfer budget, which is absolutely crazy. Let's have a little look though at the squad and see some of the performers. So the squad's actually quite small now. I suppose what we want to do first actually is look at the transfers. So did we make any more signings? Not on that one. Okay, we did on this one. £72 million from West Ham. Zakhararian from West Ham, as I mentioned there. Obviously, he can play anywhere on this front three, but favourite positions on the attack and playmaker role. Very good stats, valued at a lot more than what we paid for him as well. But overall, a very good player, 23 years old as well, so that's why he probably costs so much. And obviously, he's worth double of what we paid for him. A very good player. We can see down here, actually, he done okay, but not as good as what I probably would have thought. But the thing with Tuchel is he does play quite a defensive tactic, so these attacking players don't get the outlet which they could have done if we were playing like a 4-3-3 or a 4-3-2-1. Tuchel is about defending and stuff like that, so I mean, it's quite hard to judge stats sometimes. But moving on then, so we obviously Rafinha we saw. The next window is another 76 million spent, and we'll quickly see who we got rid of. So Koeman actually went to Atletico Madrid, 36 million. Wijnaldum, who I did say probably would go, went to is that a Dubai side? I'm not entirely sure. Edson Alvarez, a lot of the signings we brought in actually did move on as well, which is quite disappointing to see considering they've not been here that long. We did then go actually and sign Thomas Lemar from Atletico Madrid for 43 million. Jose Luis Oliveira from Santos Laguna for 6.25. And Diego Leite from Porto for 31.5 million. Again, another centre-half. We seem to be bringing in loads. Obviously, playing that 5 at the back. If you look here, we've actually got several players that can play in this position. So, definitely got depth in that area. But let's have a little look at is the tactics going to be filled out? It's not. But if we look at the squad, we can get a rough idea of how they performed. We'll do goals first. So 21 goals out of Avalison. Finally, someone breaking above the 20 mark, which is good. 14 from Zakhararian. The new signing there. His name, Neymar, not having a good season at all. Messi. I reckon Messi could have retired because he wasn't on the transfers, was he? He's not here, is he? Just going to make sure I'm not forgetting Messi. Okay, let's have a little look then. Transfers, transfer history. I reckon he is retiring. If we look at Messi, head of youth development, he's unemployed. Didn't even give him a job. Wow, that is cold. That is cold. So yeah, Messi's retired as well. So going to be very tricky to take this team forward. That is for sure. But I mean, overall, we've got some decent performers. I mean, Donnarumma, again, has been up there consistently. Rodri as well, been up there as well. Worst performers, Neymar, does not surprise me. He did not play well. He actually, wow, he didn't play too many games, actually, to be fair to him. Firmino, I don't think's really cut it. I think it was a strange signing, to be honest. No managers really played the tactic where Firmino would fit in. 39 appearances there and an awful match. Not awful, but below average for Mendes there, who I do expect a little bit better from, but overall, I would actually say this has been quite a disappointing 5 years. I thought PSG's team, especially when we first brought them in their first two seasons before they started getting rid of like Mbappe, especially the first season, I thought that possibly they could have actually won the title or at least got Champions League in the first couple, but obviously they haven't lived up to it. They haven't hacked it at all. Which part of me did think maybe they wouldn't, but I was definitely expecting better than what I've seen. And they've had some good managers over the past. Like if we have a quick look here, so if we go on to the managers, I mean, they were started off with Pochettino, who's a decent manager. They really had an intern you can't really expect. This is quite good to see actually here. So Poch won 56%. The intern won 75% of what he played. Mancini with 52%. But then the intern comes back and wins 42. Not a good spell there. Tuchel comes in and wins 64%. So, I mean, and he actually won the French... oh, this is just what he's won in the time he's been here. That's fair enough. But overall, I'd say they've had decent managers. Like they've had Tuchel, they've had Mancini, they've had Poch. So I left him in a good situation, and they just didn't hack it. They didn't hack it at all, and they've spent an absolute fortune. So a very disappointing 5 years, I would say. Not being able to win the Premier League is, you know, very disappointing considering the amount of money that's been spent, and also we've not actually really established ourselves at all in the Prem. We've had one good season really, and this season has just been very disappointing. I mean, we did qualify, but going from second, nearly winning the title, dropping down and not really even fighting for the title. I mean, Man City ran away with it completely. Quite disappointing, but let me know what you guys thought of this sort of experiment and type of things. If you've got any other ideas, any other experiments you want me to see, I'd always put polls up, community polls, where you're welcome to vote on them. This pretty much dominated the vote, so that's why you're seeing this one come up first. If you did enjoy it, please leave a like on the video, drop a comment below as well. Be sure to subscribe and turn on notifications, and I'll see you in the next one.